You might be on mute. Just want to let you know. Yeah, all good.
Thanks. No,
Yes,
no, thanks, Roy.
thank you. Thanks.
Appreciate you pointing that out. Welcome, everybody. I know people are still getting settled in right now. Thank you so much for joining joining this presentation. There are, as of right now, 90 people on the call, which is amazing. And we received like over 156 RSVPs. So I think I can safely say this is the biggest event the APA ERG has ever hosted. So thank you all so much for your support and your interest, and especially for your support for Dr. Chen. And thank you so much to the ICO, especially Paulina and Chad, for pulling this together so quickly and in a short amount of time. Um, I'm Eugenia Bay, and I work at the MIT Libraries, where I've been a librarian for over 10 years, and I'm one of the new co-leads for the ERG. I'll turn it over to Roy.
Hey everyone, welcome to the first 2024 APA ERG meeting. Yes, I'm Roy Watt-Tennyson, and I work as part of the Office of Vice President for Research, doing all of this life sciences research security compliance. So very nice to meet everyone, and thank you very much for joining. And again, thank you. Really looking forward to Dr. Chen, and thanks a lot. Next slide, please.
There's our information and also the information for contacting the ERG if you aren't already signed up on our listserv. And we just want to take a moment to thank our outgoing co-lead, Rupinder Grewal, who works with Roy in the Office of Compliance. She really held us together for the last 4 years during a very, very difficult time during the pandemic. And while she can't be on the call, we just wanted to just take this moment to recognize all that she has done for us. So thank you, Rupinder.
Thank you, Rupinder.
Um, Next slide, please.
Yep, and here we just wanted to try to make it easy. Obviously, this is not a malicious link or anything. Um, the QR code actually just brings you to the APA ERG website. Also, wanted to mention there's a lot of things happening on the IECO website as well. We also wanted to outline some of the other MIT employee resource groups as well. And additionally, all these slides will be available for everyone too. Next slide, please. Additionally, we have some upcoming events. This is not only one, but we wanted to mention on Monday, October 21st, from 4 to 5 p.m., the Adam Gorinsky will actually be talking about why we accept misinformation and how to fight it. Really timely conversation. And also already mentions, here is more information on the ICO website. You can get more information there. Additionally, you can also sign up for the newsletter. Next slide, please.
So just a few quick instructions for the Q&A. Please enter, if you have questions, please enter your question in the chat, and Roy and I will be monitoring the queue, and hopefully we can get to as many questions as possible for Dr. Chen to answer. If you would like to ask your question and not have it be recorded, we will be stopping the recording sometime close to the end of the hour and a half. Just please indicate this when you're submitting your question. Thank you. Next slide, please. All right, and now I know everybody is very eager to hear from Dr. Gang Chen. Dr. Chen is the Carl Richard Soderberg Professor Power of Engineering at MIT. He obtained his PhD from the Mechanical Engineering Department at UC Berkeley under the guidance of then Chancellor Changling Tian, and he was a faculty member at Duke University and UCLA before joining MIT in 2001. He served as the department head of mechanical engineering at MIT from 2013 to 2018, and he currently serves on the board of the Asian American Scholar Forum, which he will speak about later, among many other honors. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Chen.
Thank you, Eugenia. And good afternoon. And let me emphasize my gratitude to Eugenia, to Roy, Paulina, and in the background chat for organizing this event. And I also would like to thank you for coming to this event and listen to me during this lunch hour. And um, I would like to share my personal experience and also share with you some of the ongoing fear in the community and explain the reason behind this. So let me start by sharing my screen. Um, uh, why, I guess I need to share my screen.
Yep. Try that again. Yep.
That's strange, because we try this, right?
Yeah. No worries. Yeah. Take
Yeah,
your time
take your
there.
time. Mhm.
Yep.
Oh,
That's the
Why I'm
next.
not, can you share my screen or?
um,
Yeah. No, there we
oh,
go. Go to your
Okay,
there we go.
presentation there.
There we see it.
okay,
Perfect.
okay,
Perfect.
great. Yep. So, yeah, let me get this going. And first, I want to tell you a little bit more about myself. I think this background will help you to understand. Uh, and so I grew up in China. And in fact, I grew up during the difficult time in China, and that was during the Cultural Revolution. I didn't have many of my childhood pictures, so this is the one I could find. And uh, China's Cultural Revolution ran between 1966 for 10 years and really prosecuted the intellectuals. My parents were school teachers, elementary and high school teachers, and they were sent to work in the farm, teaching the farm. And they didn't have very good, at the time, quote unquote, family background because their parents were classified into the bad people, the enemy. So I grew up with fear. And but say I was lucky because China eventually opened the door, and in 1989, I came to the States, and I had the opportunity to study under the UC Berkeley Chancellor Chang Ning-tian, and had say really a beautiful American dream. And I served as a mechanical engineering department head. I got the different honors. This was one with former MIT president Chuck West when he handed me the let's say membership certificate for National Academy of Engineering. So I thought I really I'm very happy. I say this is my American dream came true, and I'm very grateful to this country, and I love MIT. So since we're going well, right? But I would never have imagined that my life would turn into a nightmare. And this started in um, 2018 under the Trump administration. DOJ launched China Initiative. And you can see this on November 1st. And the China Initiative original goal was to find the spies. And in fact, what I learned from the legal profession is basically DOJ is asking 94 judicial districts in US to find the one or two spies in each district. And you can see in this DOJ working group, there are 5 people. Andrew Lenin, the District of Massachusetts U.S. Attorney appointed by Trump, was it was the lead. So I actually say the problem is because the the legal profession, they really do not know how science is done. And when they could not find the spies, they turn into easy targets. Those are the academic people, because everything we do is put online, and say my CV is online, and they start to prosecute researchers. And learning is one of this extreme example. And so the really this is when at the beginning, 2018, actually at that time, although the China initiative was started, I had a worry, but I didn't have too much, because I thought this would never happen to me. Everything I do, follow the book, and as an innocent, say as a really law-abiding citizen, there should be no worry, right? But then the nightmare started in January on 22nd, 2020, when I returned from an international trip, landed going through Logan Airport Custom. I was with my family, and 4 of us were detained for 3 hours. And at the end, I was say interrogated, and my computer, my cell phones were taken away. So I came back, wrote to then President Raphael Reif, and he replied immediately. He said, "This is terrifying." Honestly, even at the time, I didn't feel terrified. I was angry, but I feel I didn't do anything wrong. What could be wrong with? Well, so why should I be afraid? But see, MIT was very generous. MIT actually came approach me and offer me external lawyer. And in fact, MIT also returned another law firm to represent the MIT. So in 2020, there are 2 lawyers going through all my records, and they found nothing wrong. And in December, they talked to prosecutor. Because they worked all in the government office before they know the people. And the lead prosecutor, Stephanie Sigman, the head of National Security Division, actually told them, "Don't worry, there's not going to be indictment. Not in the next 6 months," actually, she said. That's because the presidential transition is going to be within a month, and they were all looking for other jobs. So not in 6 months, but on January 14, just 6 days before the presidential transition, I saw a swamp of over 10 federal agents in the early morning came to swamp me to my home, and they arrested me in front of my wife and my daughter, and put them in jail. And it was a really difficult year, 2021. And after 1 year of nightmare, the DOJ dropped all charges against me. So let me just share some detail of the absurdity of the prosecution, right? On the day of my arrest, the chief prosecutor, I mentioned she's a National Security Division Chief, Stephanie Sigman, indicated to my lawyers that they rushed the case. She was under pressure from Andrew Learning to so that Andrew Learning could have a last flashy news conference. And she said that among all the accusations, she was most angry that I served as a reviewer. In their accusation, they say as a reviewer expert for the China's Natural Science Foundation. So on that same day, the U.S. attorney, outgoing, Andrew Learning, questioned my loyalty to U.S. And in the same news conference, the FBI special agent in charge, Joseph Bolovolonta, said, "We found Chen has accepted approximately 29 million in foreign funding. And if you just listen to this, it's like I took $29 million. Well, at my home, when my wife asked, what's my crime? And the agent told her that he took $19 million. My wife was very angry and said, where's the money in my home? And the agent said, at MIT. So they know very well those were MIT contracts, and they yet painted as if I took the money. And there are many stories. I just show this. This was say a lamp in my home, right? And on the lamp you'll see a piece of magnet. That was my son's toy since childhood. It's stuck there. We never bothered to remove it. And on that day, agent asked my wife, "What is this?" And my wife said, it's a piece of magnet. Why he was asking that? And the agent said, "Oh, a magnet can open a safe. You can probably you all probably watch some say movies that show the magnet, say the how do people open safe." And my wife explained, "This is a piece of magnet from toy." And despite all the explanation, when a year later we got the document back, we saw that they marked, I actually didn't have a photo, but they marked this as evidence. And you can imagine the distortion the government could have done if we go to the court. So I summarize really the government's misconduct into 7 patterns. I will give examples on each of the 7 patterns. It's just so I give just 1 or 2 examples. I have examples, many examples. And so the first one is really distortion of facts, right? And on the right is what they published on the day of my arrest. Is a list of an email I sent to myself. And this email, say they put down everything except they delete the last sentence. And it turns out this email was a meeting note. I went to a meeting when MIT hosted the Minister of Science Technology from China. And I was in the audience and I took notes, and this were what the minister said, and I wrote down everything, including last sentence. And the last sentence is Mr. X. I won't mention the name. And really the MIT official, official chaired the meeting and saying, let's work together. So they delete this sentence and they said, this email shows is my to-do list for the communist China. And let me go to the next one. They criminalize routine professional activities. So this again copied from their accusation of me, right? They say beginning in or about November 2015, and I served as reviewer expert for China's Natural Science Foundation. And this was what Stephanie Sigmund told my lawyer, my worst crime. And then I say the next one shows also Chen also served as advisor for the China Scholarship Council. See, the way this is because I took 2 students supported by the China Scholarship Council, right? And the financial support was from the China Scholarship Council, and they will say, I serve advisor for China Scholarship Council. And for people here, I think it's easy to understand because we do reviews for many people, many countries. And doing review, in fact, even US funding agency go to other country to find the impartial reviewer. So this is a part of our profession, doing reviews and taking advising student. right? And that became a crime. And number three is even if you do not reply those emails, they will say this is the criminal evidence. And in fact, on this reviewer expert, although it is something we all do, I don't feel anything wrong if I did it. The fact is, I actually never even did one review. I got a lot of requests. Sometimes I reply, sometimes I don't reply. I was just too busy to take on this work. So I never even did one review, and that became my worst crime. And number four is following the rule and the law is also a crime. When they want to criminalize you, no matter what you do. I had a lunch with the Taiwan Boston office because I'm an academician for Academia Sinica in Taiwan. And they approached me, they want to come to my office. I said, well, because I was too busy and really didn't want to have all those meetings. And I say, eventually we had a lunch outside. I told them, oh, you need to have permission from MIT. And then we say after they actually told me, oh, President Trump encouraged Taiwan and U.S. collaboration. They showed me Trump's letter, and we had lunch off campus, and that was a crime. I was hiding something, and they rushed the case. They did not do their job. They interrogated me in January 2020, right? They had at least a year, if not earlier, but they didn't do any work, and at the end, they arrest me, and they really just for convenience, political convenience. And number six is they hide the truth. And on the day of my arrest, they interview a witness who told them I was not in the talent programs they accused me. And in fact, they asked the witness to prove I was not in the program. And they asked the witness that to prove I was not in other programs. And in March 2021, they interviewed the MIT grant administrator. I'm very grateful to her and specializing on DOE. And she told them I did not violate the rules in my DOE grants application. And those materials are called the Brady material. They're Brady law that they need to turn those to the exculpatory information to the defense team. And they never did it until late in the 2021, in October or November, we asked them directly. We knew the MIT lawyer was there, and told us their exculpatory information, and we knew this. So really, they know the law, they hide the truth. And number seven is they never apologize. In fact, that they want say a way out of this. And in October, they offered a deferred prosecution agreement. And this is my lawyer, excellent lawyer, Rob Fisher, from Nixon Peabody. He said in his career, he never seen this, right? This is very rare. The government approached the defense team to offer deferred prosecution and said, we don't need to admit any mistake. We just say we agree on disagree. It was a very difficult decision for us because Rob said we know you're innocent, but say we know also say that innocent people in the jury system have about 30% chance to get convicted. So it was a very hard decision, and but I just thought after discussing with my wife, so I cannot leave if I leave any misinterpretation that I did anything wrong. So we turned down. And finally, in January 2022, They said we interview a DOE officer and found new evidence that I did not violate the DOE rule. MIT grants person had told them in March 2021, and they used this excuse in dropping all the charges against me. And in fact, even this was because the new U.S. attorney. Richard Rawlings, and I'll show a slide later. But despite this, I want to say I'm the luckiest among all the unlucky ones. There are many people got, say, accused by the government, invested by the government. And really, I'm saved by MIT, my colleagues, MIT leadership. So I'm so grateful. So on the day of my arrest, Raphael Reif wrote, say, for all of us who knew Gang, this news is surprising, deeply distressing, and hard to understand. And of course, I understand that he couldn't stand out the first day, right? And but even this email was very warming under, say, that dark circumstance. And what I didn't know at the time, and I learned this only later on, was the bravery from Professor Fink. And the light, I say, Fink is in the material science department, and we didn't write any paper together. I worked with him when I was a department head, and he served as RLE director to help a faculty member. But say the light, I was arrested. He started the government criminal complaint and the government's news conference. He didn't know all the past history, like say my airport interrogation and my lawyer. I had a lawyer already, MIT offered. So he realized all these were things they accused me were normal scientific, say, activities that we do as a faculty member. So he made slides. And in fact, I have his slide. The first one is during the McCarthy hearing, Senator hearing during McCarthy era, the lawyer for the Army, Joseph Welsh, asked Senator McCarthy, "Sir, do you have any sense of decency?" And that hearing turned the tide, really changed the history. McCarthy went downhill from there. And the last slide of his slide deck is a three citation of Martin Niemöller's famous poem. Martin Niemöller was interned by Germany, Nazi Germany, for 7 years. And his famous poem read, "First, they came for the socialist, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionist, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. And then they came to me, and there was no one to speak for me." So with those slides, he analyzed why they say he didn't even know all this distortion, and just based on the face value of government indictment, and say this is all what we do. So the next day he called a faculty meeting, and they wrote open letter that's signed by over 200 MIT faculty. The letter ended with the rallying cry, "We are all Gang Chen." This is a turning point in my case. In fact, it's a historical event because this was actually a slide from Fink, and he told me it's his daughter Norm made this slide. And you can say for me, say the day I was arrested on the left, the news headlines, MIT professor arrested and charged with grant fraud. So all those news headlines. And a week later, MIT letter to President Wright was published, a faculty newsletter. And MIT also clarified that the money they mentioned was collaboration with South Tech, was the MIT collaboration. And that changed the media. And you can see on the right, yeah, and this is say the headline again. Say anti-Asian atmosphere chills Chinese scientists working in the US. Criminalizing science is really dumb. So this really changed the media and also mobilized the community. Professor Jeff Schleider from Northwestern actually started an online, say, change online petition that was signed on the same title, "We're all Chen," and signed by nearly 1,500 scientists across the country and the world. And American Physical Society presidents wrote open letters to the DOJ. The president, past president, CEO, future president, all signed the letter. And the Stanford faculty started a campaign to really call for an end of the China Initiative. So this is a historic event. I'm very grateful to MIT, my colleagues, and to many of you, to the entire scientific community. And it was a very hard year, but the support really was strong. And we have some faculty and people we don't know left buckets of flowers, letters, say sometimes food in front of say our house. So it's a really amazing community. So a year later, the DOJ, the new U.S. attorney, in fact, we waited a long time for her to come on board. Rachel Rawlings announced via Twitter, they dropped my charge. So this is one detail people didn't know. Rachel Rawlings actually conveyed through Rob Fisher, my lawyer, the light before the government dropped the case, and she conveyed her personal apology. And she said the government does not allow say apology, so she sent her personal apology. And later on, we had over hour meeting with her, and we learned more. And it's really, this is just one case. So see, also my lawyer said the government will never apologize. And also, I'm so grateful. Like I said, I'm lucky because of the support and the MIT scientific community warmly welcoming back. So on the left is the MIT, from the MIT faculty institute faculty meeting on February 16, 2022, passed a resolution acknowledging this matter, acknowledging the pain we went through, and expressed the welcome of me coming back and my contribution to MIT. And in 2023, I was elected to the National Academy of Science. And to me, this is is really a statement of the scientific community that I'm a welcome member of the community. So let me use the rest of my time to share with you what about now, right? This was the actual question asked, because 1 month later, after the government had dropped the charge against me, DOJ ended the China Initiative. And so the question asked, this MIT Technology Review, the US government is ending the China Initiative, what now? And again, this is certainly a welcoming step, right? But I just give you a quote from Matt Olson. We appreciate his effort, not that we don't appreciate, but even in this case, I quote what he said. by grouping cases under China initial rubric, we help giving rise to a harmful perception, right? So the government never admit it is true. It's not perception of the say prejudice against the say really most of this prosecuted, over 90% are people of Chinese heritage. So I give you four answers to that question. First is, even though the DOJ say dropped the China initiative, they still continue the prosecution. And I give you one example here is Franklin Tao. He was indicted in 2019. He fought 5 years. He didn't have the support from his university. And after 5 years fighting, in July 2024, this year, the government dropped the final charge against him. So it is really painful. I know the family. I know Franklin. I know his wife worked 3 jobs, and yet they're still the fight cost him over $2 million, about $2.3 million, and they are deeply in debt. And I have done many times a campaign for him, fundraising for him. They are still over $1 million behind say in their legal bill. And he's still trying to get his knife back. He's still trying to get his job back from Kansas University, right? This is as this say headline article saying, right? So it's really this, every family went through this will experience extreme hardship, and people, they will never recover to the same person. Okay. This second aspect is really although the criminal indictment are less, but the funding agencies continue to punish people who had collaborations in the past with China. And this is a science article. In fact, there are many science articles revealing the problems for National Institute of Health. And this article summarized, for example, among all the investigation conducted by NIH, 103 people lost a job, and 156 faculty members were removed from their position. And 81% of those prosecuted are Asian. And this is say a quote from the Mike Nauer, NIH Deputy Director, testimony in Congress this year. And he said, since 2018, NIH has received allegations involving over 600 scientists, where in the Office of Extramural Research have contacted institutions in 255 cases. Nevertheless, it's important to keep in mind that fewer than 1% of the approximately 40,000 NIH-funded principal investigator scientists have been linked to foreign interference concerns. He is washing down the 1%. 1% means nothing to him. During McCarthy era, Senator McCarthy once waved the empty piece of paper, said, I have a name of 205 scientists who are communists. And that led the prosecution, the McCarthy Red Scare. And this itself, just by its number, you can say the parallel there. And the third aspect is the continual harassment at the U.S. border by all border agents. In fact, the U.S. border now is a nightmare place for many people, especially of those of Chinese heritage. And you can see 2 articles. The left one is a Nature article in February 2024, and they reported say a few examples. One of the example was an MIT colleague anonymously, And he returned from international conference in Canada. And for people who have went through the Canada and returned to US, you know that you first go through the custom in Canada. And once going through that, you are in US, right? So the search will need a warrant. But when the airplane landed in US, the pilot asked everybody to take out their passport again, and the two agents waiting at the door and took him away, interrogated him for a few hours, asking him quite a few years back papers he wrote, including Chinese collaborators. And then this is on the right is a science article on again also in the around the same time in March 2024, reporting Chinese students deported, many cases, particularly at Logan International Airport. I remember in January 1st, 2022, a Chinese visitor landed in Logan, because related to our department, and our staff was waiting outside. And after a few hours, the whole day, the person didn't show up. And 36 hours later, we learned that she was sent back to China. And this happens so often. And a faculty member from another university, even her daughter was questioned. And this faculty member works on battery. So the custom asked his daughter, about her father's battery research. Ask her what's the energy density of her father's research. And the same university, another faculty member of Taiwan origin, and she said she was questioned for 5 hours. She argued with them 5 hours, right? So those are happening. The problem is once people got to investigate, determine, they cannot speak out. They are afraid of speak out. Their lawyers say don't speak out. So we do not hear this, right? And the people who were harassed couldn't talk. And people who didn't experience it thought, oh, there's no problem. So we don't really hear this. And then this is a relaunch of the China Initiative. The Congress there is a group of people, they keep trying to relaunch the China Initiative. And here on the left is the House Bill 1398. That was just passed a few weeks ago, re-established Essential China Initiative, give a different name. But if you read, before was trying to find spy, right? Now, if you read this, right, on the left, you will see the number two, you will focus on academic institutions. And number three is develop an enforcement strategy concerning non-traditional collectors. So the government will treat every Chinese as Chinese American, people of Chinese origin, as non-traditional collector. They say the area of this Chinese or say people of Chinese origin go to China and bring some knowledge, and then the government will build this knowledge together. So they will call this non-traditional collector. Everybody is a spy, right? Including researchers in labs, university, and defense industry base being used to transfer. So you can see if this bill eventually, because it passed the House on September 11th, and it still has to pass the Senate, we're fighting. This was me the day before the vote at the Capitol Hill, and in the front is Representative Judy Chu of KPAC chair, Caucasus Asian Pacific Islander representatives. And we failed to prevent this happen. I want to mention that my activity here is not in the lane of MIT. I do it as a private citizen. I do it through a nonprofit organization. Asian American Scholar Forum. So the end effect of this is a tremendous fear in the community, especially researchers. And this was a survey conducted by Asian American Scholar Forum of over 1,300 university professors in US, most of them of Chinese heritage. And you can see the fear there, right? 35% feeling unwelcome, and 72% not feeling safe in the US, and 42% fearful of conducting research. And in fact, about the same number decide they are not going to apply for federal funding anymore. And 65 were about collaborations with China. And it becomes very hard to recruit the international students. And so you can see 45% avoided federal grants and 61% are thinking about leaving US. And yet those people, 89% want to contribute US science and technology leadership. Right? People are so scared that I have, say, I met somebody in Japan. He didn't dare to go to China and meet his parents. So he brought his parents to Japan when he had a conference in Japan. And these are two quotes from my friends, one from Harvard. He said, I've told my kids, be prepared to take care of their mom when they come take me away. And the other faculty friend from Purdue said the FBI director, Christopher Wray, said they open a China-related case every 10 hours. Everything they charge you applies to me. It won't take long before it's my turn. This is the fear we live in US. I just want to say, historically, the history of xenophobia and xenophobia is not new. And in fact, if you look at what I listed here, 1854 California Supreme Court case, say that rule that the Chinese, like Black Americans and Native Americans, were not allowed to testify in court, make it effectively impossible for Chinese immigrants to seek justice against the mounting violence. And then in 1882, the Congress passed the Chinese Inclusion Act, and they continued that in 89. And then in 1902, the Chinese immigration was made permanently illegal. And this really maintained, to be the case until Second World War, when they need China, China to be, in the alliance. And eventually the law was canceled in the 1960s. And we really need to remember history, right? During Second World War, more than 125,000 individuals of Chinese Americans, Japanese Americans, were held in the concentration camp, right? Detention site. So given the current tension, we are worried, deeply worried. As one professor, Xiaoxin Shi, he was also wrongfully charged by the government and acquitted fully. He said, we don't want to be sent to internment camps. So I just give you two historical figure. Chen, somebody we all know. He was an MIT graduate, Caltech professor, also taught at the MIT. Really was instrumental for the U.S. rocket industry, rocket technology during the Second World War too. And he was a co-founder, founding member of the Jet Propulsion Lab. And yet during the McCarthy Red Scare, he was under house arrest for 5 years. He was applying for U.S. citizenship. And yet he was under suspicion and under house arrest. So he went back to China and became father of Chinese rocket industry. And on the right is my late PhD advisor, Chang Tian. He served as UC Berkeley chancellor. And this is a report by Mara with Tandel. And it just say the API has a Chinese scientist project program running from 1960s to 1980s. And in that, Chang Ningtian was the last person on this investigation list. Really, I want to say this is self-defeating, and American is strong because we are able to attract the best talent. And the American bring in actually started a really relatively say recent, really during the Second World War II, before German and Italy forced a lot of scientists out, right? And the Soviet Union and Jewish immigrant, Chinese Cultural Revolution. So really, American benefited from this. As the sociologist, Jonathan Cole, he does really the science sociology. He was the provost from Columbia. And he wrote this, American research universities rise to global preeminence was a recent, highly contingent development that was largely a byproduct of the influx of foreign scholars during the 1930s and 1940s and the ravage wrought on European universities by World War II. And then a historian on the science history, Stephen Mintz wrote, universities can improve rapidly, but they can also decline quickly. And President Raphael Reif wrote this letter to MIT community, immigration is a kind of oxygen. And you can see that, in fact, among the top 100, Fortune 500 companies listed in 2018, 44 of them are foreign born. Here, I'm listing a few from Google's Sergey Brin, AMD, Lisa Shi, now the NVIDIA, Jason Huang, and Eric Zoom of Zoom that we are using every day. Eric Yuan. And I just show this photo, some photo of my former group members, really international, right? Coming from many different countries. And unfortunately, this what we're doing is really hurting US fundamentally. And here is the organization, so it's the OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, that including 38 countries, and this including US, this organization. And it has data of the net gain of scientific authors of each country. And you can see that US was on rising trajectory. So in 2018, US has over 4,000 net new researchers, new scientific authors. And by 2021, we are -4. And China has been gaining. So the actions, the policy we set, really fundamentally hurting US. Let me just say, and getting close to say, a lot of people say, why don't you go to China? I'm American. I build my career here. I contribute to this country. I raise my family here. And it's my right. I need to fight rather than escape, right? So I work a lot through the Asian American Scholar Forum, which is a non-profit organization launched after I was arrested. And we do a lot of talking to government. A lot of this talk is behind the door. And in fact, we were invited by the White House to go to the White House. This was a meeting with OSTP Director Ariti Brabaga. OSTP is representative Office of Science and Technology. It's a cabinet level position. And we've been working a lot behind the doors with different funding agency. And people understand if you talk to them, right? This is actually really bad for US. We're losing talent. And so we're playing roles to in the policy setting process. And our slogan is we learned we need to have a seat at the table. We actually now do have a seat at the table. We gave a lot of input in the research security discussion. And for the work we're doing, I am proud to share this photo because a few weeks ago we were awarded American Courage Award by the Asian American Advancing Justice. And on this photo, in this photo, you can see Franklin Tao, the second one, and he was the first one indicted under China Initiative, and he fought 5 years. He won. On the right is Amin, who was also indicted under China Initiative, and he fought. He went to the first. He was the first one went to court, and won. So the government didn't win, only had about 20% success rate. And this success is a lot of times is people, when you spend $0 million, like they come to me, they want to make a deal. When you're under that stress, a lot of people just say, let me take the, say, a easier way, just miss something, so they can go on with their life. And on the left is Xiaoxin Xi. This was before China Initiative. He was wrongfully prosecuted, and he was acquitted, and he's fighting back and suing FBI. So on the bright side, I just want to share, even though despite what I went through, say I have not given up my research. I'm still doing my research. I don't do government research, U.S. government funding anymore. It's just too scary because anytime I know, because we work a lot with the U.S. government now and the research security, there are a lot of boxes to check. And given my experience, I know checking any wrong box, I could be put in prison. I don't want to have any possibility of accused. And but say I'm hanging on, I'm doing my research. And in fact, in 2022, I'll work on this cubic boron arsenide semiconductor. It's was named the best semiconductor we discovered, and was named the top 10 breakthrough of the year by Physics World. But this was actual continuation of previous work. Nowadays, I say I don't want to work on this because semiconductor, even though we publish everything, none of our work is classified. But I don't want to give any excuse. So I say I don't, because now the chips war, right, becomes so sensitive. I don't work on this. So I completely changed my research direction. I work on water, but there's still some really interesting funding. If you're interested, you can look at the MIT news, and we found that the light can evaporate water without heat. And this is something that we believe will have a big impact on the entire Earth's water cycle. So let me end here. And this was a photo sent by a colleague even before my case was dropped. And this colleague is of African American heritage, and the quote is of Martin Luther King from Birmingham jail. He wrote in a letter, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." So with that, I thank you. I really appreciate you staying with me and listen to me. Talking this is very painful, but if we don't talk, say the history repeat. So I learned we have to speak out. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chen. And please, everyone, give a virtual round of applause to Professor Chen for his
Thank you.
amazing and very, wow, yeah, deeply insightful talk. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you.
It's a lot to think about.
I want to thank everybody. Thank for your past support, continuous support of me and of the people. Right? Say this is really, we have many people living in special time and living in fear, we need to show our care for them.
Very well said. Thank you, sir. We have some questions that have come in that we're going to go through. 1 second here. Okay, so we have a question about peer evaluations. In academia, peer evaluations are used for research papers and grants. Has your paper acceptance rate and research grant success rate changed significantly before and after this incident? And I can put this in the chat as well.
Right. A good question. In fact, let's say first, on the grant side, I don't apply government grant anymore. But let me just share a pure suspicion. Even before what happened to me, I feel maybe they're already say undisclosed discrimination. And in fact, let me just say this is also some of this public knowledge. If you go, I think even NIH and also NSF, their statistics show that the Asian faculty has a lower rate of getting funding, right? So this is something that it was recognized, but I know that many researchers of Chinese origin they or who had a collaboration in the past with China, their funding it's much harder for them to get. And so because I heard those all anecdotally, their examples, but I won't go to detail. And in terms of paper, I do not feel their discrimination in the scientific community. I think the scientific community is still very open. And as I said, I was elected to National Academy of Sciences, and I think people in research area knows the important thing is to educate the people, the law enforcement, because as I have talked, they just don't know how we do research. We need this open exchange of ideas, collaboration to move science ahead, and they don't know how we do it. They will say reviewing a proposal is a crime. Taking a student with fellowship is a crime, right? So they don't know how scientific world works, and we need to educate them.
Thank you. And we have a follow-up question to that. Besides government funding, what are other funding opportunities? Now share this as well.
Well, thank you. I'm still struggling. As an old faculty member, as many of you know, working with the faculty members, and Reason Fund is always a challenge, even with the government funding, right? And in my case, say now it's much harder. I have small grants from like a Bose Award and the MIT collaboration with Morocco and the JWAF, which just ended. So I'm still looking, and I'm working with say like MIT through foundations, for example. And as a faculty member, Reason Research Fund is always a work in progress. So hopefully we'll get the funding to continue.
Yeah, great presentation. We've been getting a lot of different questions, but since we're actually on the different proposals as well, one of the questions is in academia, peer evaluations are used for research papers and grants. Has your paper or
Oh,
research acceptance rate changed significantly before and after this?
Oh yeah, Roy, that I hope what I just answered pretty much this question, but I think one thing probably I should add is what is scary now is writing a letter of recommendation, right? And we write say letters of recommendation, and then say in fact that when my lawyer opened my computer, see this all the hundreds of letter of recommendation I wrote, right? And remember, we don't get a penny of writing these letters, right? This is just our profession. And our students lead the letters, and our colleagues lead the letters. And in fact, we lead letters from our colleagues too, right? So that's just how we evaluate each other. And there are times I would spend the entire, in fact, many times I would spend the entire weekend writing letters. Now, writing a letter of recommendation is something that I have to say, will I potentially be accused of working for the Mainland Foreign Talent Program, right? And it become a sort of a danger. It's it's pretty scary, pretty scary. Yeah.
Thank you. Could you also speak about how your family felt from the support of MIT? And also, do you think that it was enough to make your own support known and felt it in an impactful way for your wife and children?
Yeah, this the it's difficult really for the family. And the day I was uh I'll say because when the federal agents swamped my home, right? It was early morning, 6:30, and I was making coffee, and I saw them and my wife and my daughter. Daughter because of the COVID, and my daughter was a MIT student at the time, and they were in sleep, and it was my wife still cries in her dream because she remember the police came just shouting beside her bed, just police, police. And it was a man asking her to get up, right? And they took me away, they handcuffed me in front of them, and when they took me away. So it's very hard. Um, my daughter has since really, she was a mechanical engineer. Now she's trying to find a louder voice, right? So I think that I would say people ask me, uh, first, I keep saying I'm very grateful to MIT. My daughter was very well taken care of, the colleagues. And like I said, there are many cases people just drop a bucket of food or flour. We don't know who dropped this in front of our door. And it's just, but see, I also tell people, we will never return to the same. I would just say I have a new equilibrium, right? Now, anything I do, I will say, am I in danger? Right, right. Because you see the stretching the government can go, right? And so it's a very different state. It's fine. We move on with life, but it's not same life. It's not same life.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have actually a question from the president of the MIT Chinese Alumni Group, Humphrey Chen. He asks, how can the MIT CAG community of 5,000 plus alumni from around the world best support you going forward?
Well, thank you very much. And I think they really supporting, of course, if there are really people want to do research, I carry out my research, right? I always say I'm looking for funding to pursue the research that really making a difference to the world. And really, I think it's important to support the not just me, but the community, the impact people. And many people, students who do not dare to speak, right? Their experience. And I know many Chinese students when they actually when they go back home, like even postdoc, when they go back home, they will search which airport is safe for them to go, right? And so we need to, I think it's important for us to work together to have our voice heard. We can no longer be silent, right? And that is important for the community. And what we learned is if we speak out, we get heard, right? It's hard, but we could have an impact. And for us, many of us at ASF, we learned this is we're not, we could just say be relaxed and even retire, right? Have a fine. Let's say it was a difficult time, but we have more children here, right? This is our country, and we need to make it a better place. We work, we that's what I say. I'm American, right? And democracy is fragile, and we only when everybody practice it, they can be strong.
Excellent. Well said. And going along with that, Dr. Chen, um, what's your advice? What's your advice for rising generation of Chinese Americans, academics, researchers who are building their careers in universities across America, and and also depend on international collaborations to advance?
Yeah, so probably first the international collaboration, right? Unfortunately, the reality becomes harder and harder, right? If in fact we work with the government like a DoD, when they had a research security matrix, you go to read, it will say in the national co-author paper is a risk. It's a moderate risk according. And we knew because we had a communication. We explained it's not their intention not to collaborate. But the problem is when they put this matrix there, and if you can think about, say, even collaborate with a European country, and they may have Chinese researchers, they may have, say, people working in the talent program, and then one day, or in the U.S. entity, because that those also create a lot of fear, right? In a U.S. entity list, and one day the funding, a U.S. funding agency come to you, say, why you work with somebody on the entity list? You didn't even know the person was on the entity because you didn't work with the person directly. So those are the difficulties we face now. I think the key advice I have is disclose, 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 right? And we have say Rupinder is mentioned, and it's great that she's been doing so much. And in fact, I had our meeting with her. It's disclose, disclose, disclose. Yesterday I had a meeting, our meeting, right? So, but their research, we just have to keep collaborating, right? So that is just let everybody know I'm collaborating whether you have concern, and let your program manager know that if you write paper at the end, make sure that acknowledgement. This is something that I was charged for two papers. One is my former postdoc went back and he didn't finish the paper. In fact, he did most of the work after he went back. And because he started here, we joint wrote that paper. And that was a crime. They say I didn't disclose. And the fact is there was no requirement to disclose. It was already in the say paper, right? I mean, and the manager check every paper acknowledgement. So no flags. right? And later on I was charged, right? So you got to write very, very carefully, very, very detailed. Don't be leaning on that, right? And so in this, and yeah, it is harder, but uh, we also have to really educate the law enforcement, working with the university. That's what we're doing, working with the government and educate them in the rulemaking process, right?
Yeah, thank you. Again, on behalf of us and all the attendees, etc. Thank you so much for bravely sharing this heartwarming story as well. What are some things that can be done to improve things on a system-wide level, including institutions like MIT, which might have different political sways for systematic change?
Yeah, so I love MIT, and you can see that I'm so grateful to my colleagues to MIT for the support. So we all want to make this, I'm sure for us on this, say, Zoom, we all want to make MIT a better place. So whenever I have opportunity, right? So we are engaging, for example, through some of the work, even though I'm doing from not from MIT faculty, from nonprofit Asian American Scholar Forum, but I'm keeping MIT engaged in the say informed of the activity, and MIT has its own say very powerful, of course, the ability to communicate the institutional say standpoint views, and I think that this is where everybody can have their voice be heard and influence the MIT, right? Because we are MIT. We make this a place. Our student, our staff, our faculty really are MIT, right? So uh, we can have our influence on the policy. I think uh, it will take more work, right? MIT, for example, under say MIT had actually Chanan report, right? Or MIT had I forgot the exact name, Chanan strategy, right? And this was a few years back, say under Richard Lester, and that strategy, say we even during this difficult time we need to continue the collaboration, right? So that's at least the state of the policy, but then how to implement that, right? And that is become a more nuanced because the government rules keep changing, right? So those are there. This is a really dynamic process. But say, I think beyond the MIT as a regular citizens, right? This is not MIT. I think we can all have a voice heard by talking to the representatives, to the Congress people, right? And you don't represent MIT, we have, they'll listen to you, to the constituents, the people from their district. So I think we have the power, and then we also found that getting organized, right, really is very powerful because the one person voice is hard to be heard, but you have when you have a group, it's you'll get more attention. So this is say they work through Asian American Scholar Forum. It just also give example. This summer we had a annual meeting on Stanford campus of Asian American Scholar Forum. We celebrated the achievement of Asian American scientists. We have say people, we use a cell phone as a storytelling. And we have 3 people of Chinese origin come and say contribute to Wi-Fi. Right. So Wi-Fi was invented and commercialized by Teresa Meng from Stanford. And then when people playing games, right now the video where you can stop, you restart where you stopped, and that was the flash memory was by Simin and a Korean American together, right? And now the large language model, all right, it started voice recognition by Indian American, all right. So we use videos to really tell the story, the Asian American contributions to US, right? Educate the general public. So we have many ways to really influence the society and the history, right? So getting engaged, because I thought my personal biggest lesson is I thought this would never happen to me, right? China initiative, uh, I'm law abiding. Oh, I didn't do anything wrong. Why should I be worried? And my own experience is any of this policy can come to haunt us, right? So we need to prevent the harmful policy to become true, right? That's why we're fighting so hard to prevent another China initiative, the new House bill just passed, the 1398. And in fact, it's also included, relaunching China initiative is included in the 2025 congressional budget bill. And that bill must pass. And if it's included, everybody, say academia could be impacted, right? Many people will be impacted. So
Yeah, thank you. And with it's almost 1:30. We're going to ask our one last question. And I think you also already mentioned this in different subsets, Dr. Chen. But what are some, with that being said, what are the three top takeaways from today's session?
well, so the top takeaway, I would say this is we always have in US. We have we're told, right? Believe in somebody's innocent until proven guilty, right? And in my case, the government did the reverse. First, assume you're guilty, and then and once that happened, it's getting say tremendous toll. It took a tremendous toll individual family. So we need to have that empathy to people who when government now I have to say I'm a skeptic, right? When somebody is accused somebody something, I say I have yet to be convinced, right? So I think that empathy is very important. And the second, I would say it's really uh, getting engaged, right? I assume that this will never happen to me. I believed it will never happen to me. And so when say what the Martin Mueller poem cited by you, I think if we don't speak out, right, when they sense wrong, when we see wrong things, it could come to haunt us, right? So those are the uh, um, 2 points, and I would say they're really my major takeaways. I would say um, have the empathy and supporting people, impact people, and really stand up and speak out, right? So when you see the wrong things. And I keep saying I'm so grateful for the support I've received from the MIT community and from the scientific community. So I want to again thank everybody for your support, and I call on more of us to be empathetic to what's happening and to get engaged.
Thank you, Dr. Chen. Yep, and now Eugenia would like to conclude the event.
Thank you so much again, Dr. Chen. And this was just an amazing hour and a half. And thank you to everyone who was able to stay. At one point, I think we had 123, 125 people on the call, and that is all credit to you, sir, and to what you mean to all of us. So thank you. Just to wrap up, we will be sending out the slides, or actually, yes, thank you, Felina. Everybody, please give a round of applause, again, a virtual round of applause for Dr. Chen.
Thank you.
And we will be sending out the slides and also the recording at a later time. And we also just wanted to let everyone know that there are discussions happening with the MIT leadership about holding an in-person campus-wide talk later on, if not this year, then in the spring semester with Dr. Chen. So please, and we will be sharing details about that as we learn more. So please keep your eye out for that. If you would like to join the APA ERG, please do so. We will share the link out to all attendees to sign up for our listserv, where you can hear more about upcoming events and also in particular the on-campus talk with Dr. Chen. Thank you, Roy. And Roy has shared the link in the chat as well. You will receive a survey. Oh, and yes, thank you, Paulina. Please also feel free to sign up for the ICO newsletter. You will be receiving a link to a survey at the end. Please fill that out and let us know what else you would like to see from us, and also any comments or questions that you had that we did not get a chance to address here. Thank you so much all again. Have a great rest of the afternoon, and we hope to see all of you soon. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye.